What is up, guys? How we doing? We are jumping straight into it. I delayed a bit because I wanted to make sure that game started when I didn't want to be. So we are playing, or sorry, we are giving commentary on the Clash of Samurai, which is at the BCA, the Brilliancy Chess Academy, by Maxwell Kwesikboha. And we are basically on the group in the group stages. That's 5 rounds. This is round 1. And we'll be jumping from game to game. But the time control is 10 plus 2. And yeah, let's just get into the games. As we continue the coverage, I will notify you on the tournament, how everything's going. So we have Biney versus Kirby Spyro. Sorry, wrong. No. Okay. We have a sort of like Kolizuka Twat with an interesting way of progressing. Black is going for a very straightforward queenside approach. But the problem with this is I actually like white here, right? The black is just seems to be underdeveloped. I get his idea, but once white breaks in the center, he's going to be come under a lot of fire and a lot of pressure. So Biney is not looking desirable in this position. Queen c2, he continues to progress. Very nice output square for the knight. If he can indeed get there, highly unlikely. Pawn push, you may take if you want, and then the bishop comes in. So as we can already see, white has already central space control. White has the more active pieces. Look at how this bishop is stuck here. It's not doing anything. This knight is gasping for air. The reason he doesn't trade off is because he helps develop his opponent's pieces, and he doesn't want to do that. The king has yet to castle. Rook is coming in here. If something is not done fast, you can take. He takes, and then after you develop your knight, the rook is coming in there. This pawn is going to be a thorn in your side. So this is going to be a very, very interesting position to see. Okay, so he's banking on winning here, but still we have the rook coming in. Then you can place him the bishop here if you so do. If you do so, please. Even bishop here now might even make more sense. But the rook to simply threaten pawn takes and unleashing problems on your opponent, I think is the way you actually want to go. I actually think that's the way you would want to go. I just want to see if this game gets clarified, and then we'll move on to another game where it's much easy to determine what's going on. Yep, knight takes. I was even thinking pawn takes, but knight takes is actually much stronger, because if knight takes again, you have rook captures. Then the bishop is coming in, the other rook is coming in to join, and yeah, white is going to have a black is going to have a difficult time playing. But the way white developed in the opening is actually where I believe the problem came from. This is not what you do. I mean, still game to be played. No one is actually up material. There's still more game to be played, but it's highly undesirable for black here. He might withhold, or he might, like, yeah, I was going to say that, like, he's going to play knight to f6 first, and the whole point of this is to kind of slow down his opponent's chance of castling. But we have something like queen. Oh, sorry, I thought the queen was over here. Yeah. Okay, so he develops the bishop with tempo. The queen has to move. If anything, the queen is going to move in here. This knight can eventually come here. I don't think that's actually what's going to happen next. More or less, we're going to see a doubling of the rooks. That way, if the opponent castles, this bishop is on pre. Actually, yeah, you could even play knight here, to be frank. To be very frank, you could actually play knight there. Because you play, for example, knight to c5. If knight takes, you have queen takes, and you are putting more pressure here. Your opponent castles, you can just take. So that's an castles, you can just take. So that's actually a plausibility. Like, it's actually quite possible for him to make that move. Knight here is actually very possible. I was thinking originally that you wouldn't want to do that move. I mean, you could also go for the other plan of doubling. Oh, actually, that's actually quite good. That is actually quite good. That is more pressure than I was actually recommending here. Because, yeah, now you do castle and you are instantly hit with this, and you are hit with the fork here. There's no back rank threats against white here. So that's going to be a very, like, easy thing to do here. So you can't castle. I was thinking of doubling, but the point is then when you play rook to e2, your opponent just castles, and by the time you double, he solidifies his defense. Bishop d6 is actually a very, very beautiful move being played here by white. I want to see his reaction here, and then we might actually move on, because it seems to be quite obvious here that white is winning. Because the next move that is simply going to follow is rook takes, and even if the king runs away, more problems. You could initiate bishop takes because you want to, like, I mean, the queen, basically, because the queen has no, like, viable squares to go in this scenario. So yeah, maybe you want to do that. I just want to see what he's going to play here, then I'll move. There's not really much you can do here. Rook doesn't work. Blocking with the knight doesn't work. Like, there's yeah, you still get hit with bishop takes. You can also play again. Oh, rook takes is just checkmate, right? No, it wasn't. But you still win the queen. Yeah, so you just take the queen here. There's no need to hang on to. Actually, you could hang on to it and just be that kind of guy. Yeah, you could actually just hang on to it. Now you have to take the queen. You could play knight check first, but still, you just. And this is not actually the safer square. The king can actually take the knight. You'd have wanted to come in this way. And if queen takes, you take with your queen. Okay, now you take with the rook. Okay. Okay, and now the other rook comes in. This guy can, or you can play the check first. Or either way. Okay. This is just done. Kirby Spyro is taken down by Biny. Interesting. Who else is there? Ooh. You look at the big guys are the big guys are already there. Let's look at the new guys, the guys we don't really know so much. Strange Up versus N Prince. Round one, we expect the big guys to win. If there's an upset, we'll let you know. But we're expecting the big guys to already win. So far, we're not expecting much here. Slow looking game here. N Prince seems to be disconnecting. You can't see the times and everything, but N Prince seems to be disconnecting here. How do we develop from here? Bishop here, remaneuvering the knight to this square is an idea. There's no real attack. You want to hone in on your opponent's weakness here. Again, you don't want them to push it and, like, strengthen themselves. That's what you can see that black is doing. Black wants to deal with this weakness, so he wants to go pawn push, which is why I'm advocating for the first move to bishop here. So bishop here, now you have 3 defenders, 3 attackers. If defenders are equal to attackers, defenders win. Then eventually you can get a knight in here and try and blockade this, right? So if we can imagine that kind of position, I can't make moves on this board, unfortunately. I can imagine that whole kind of position. I understand not being able to make a move, but you have to make a move, and I think developing the bishop is where you want to go. If there are any disconnections, don't worry. I will be doing a recap of these tournaments, and I may repost snippets of it, so don't worry about the disconnections. You will see every game that you want to see, either today or tomorrow. Anyways, so like I said, he takes. Wait, that count the defenders wrongly? I think I did. Yeah, the pawn. Yeah. The pawn push what I miscalculated. Yeah, so takes here. No, it's actually correct. Yeah, so you can trade here, but that would be leaving you with the knight versus bishop middle game. I don't think you want to do that. Oh. Oh. Just here. What is going on? Why is he thinking? We want to double here and attack the knight. We are like, it's obvious that our opponent is going to play like this move to defend. Like it's obvious that our opponent is going to play like this move to defend. Then maybe, yeah. So rook here, rook a8, rook a8, then h3 probably, because you want to eventually move this knight, but you don't want to open yourselves up to this kind of attack. You could also say that you'd play this move to double the pawns. You would get the pawn back because it's going to be very weak and it's going to be an end game. But that kind of risk is not something that everybody wants to take advantage of. Once again, I'm sorry about the disconnections. Today, my internet has been quite bad. But again, like I said, I'm recording, so you will see every single game. So don't worry about it. You're missing out on anything. So for example, like an idea I was talking about was this, and the knight jumping back somewhere or something like that. You don't have to worry about background checkmate. He wants to maneuver his knight all the way to e6. I think that's what he's trying to do over here. Yeah, but it doesn't work because your opponent is going to take, you take back, and now there's no fork. Even if you did manage to get the fork, right? Rook takes. Maybe his plan is to this guy, right? It's possible he's also looking at rook takes, pawn push rook to d7 with ideas of this. Of course, pawn push, yeah, okay, he doesn't go for that. This also allows like this move, right? You can play rook to e6, putting more pressure. You help the knight remaneuver. That's the problem with not losing, but just help your opponent remaneuver. Pawn push is also a plausibility. Yeah, but then now you just jump back. White is doing is like I can admire what White is doing here in regards to giving black problems, because yeah, regardless of where you move the knight is actually not doing well over here, right? Then the knight is just not doing well over here. And now you can get active. I would have much more preferred this square. I get what he's doing here. Pawn push, and then you have this move, right? Of course, your opponent can challenge you, which is... you'd want to come in this way. Or... knight to cd7. Knight to d7 is interesting because you target the guy here. And you open up the attack here. But this move kind... yeah, it doesn't stop anything, right? You can just play knight takes with check, yeah. So knight d7 is a very good move here for white. Because even if your opponent... yeah, very nice. You open the attack here. So now you're targeting two weaknesses of your opponent. Ideally, you'd want to play like rook here, but all of them are met with check, and some trades can happen. And then what we see is that white has won back his... basically, that's basically what we are seeing. Actually, what about the other rook? I keep looking at this rook moving, but what if he moves the other rook? Oh, yeah. We have knight takes with check. If rook takes, we take. If rook takes, we take back. That's fine. Yeah, so we just go still with check here. Yeah, that's it. Don't take with the rook. I think you want to take with the knight. You can even trade off. You are saving... you're allowing your opponent to see. It's possible he's going for some sort of like mating net or something. But you kind of put yourself in this... okay, wait. You can't still play that. Yeah, so I don't know if he's trying to aim for like some mating net or something. Like slow... I don't know. Because you take back the knight jumps in and then you lose all your aggression. I don't know why he didn't just take this. Because you just weaken your opponent's structure. Like you really just weaken... that thing can be to ignore, right? Just play like g6. Keep these squares locked. That exists, but I don't know. I feel like there was something more. An interesting line here, for example, is like knight back, king comes in here, then you just bring the other rook. I think that's also what he's in. He wants to lock things up and then aim for some. But I think what's going to happen here is knight check. If the king goes back this way, it's checkmate. So the king has to come in this way, then he's going to double. That is where the problem... that's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to play knight f6, check. King moves this way, because the other way is, like we said, is checkmate. Then we're going to get rook b to b7. And after rook to b7, it's completely unstoppable. Yeah, at this point, white is just winning. I mean, you can do that, but I thought just going for the check is much more KO. Sorry, doubling before the check is much more KO. Because I'm looking at pawn push. Pawn push, rook comes in. Then you jump in with your knight. Oh, wait. The knight is hanging. Is that what he was aiming for? Oh, sorry, except the knight's hanging. Pawn push, the knight is not hanging. He's aiming for checkmate in one. Which is why I wanted this move. Because now if your opponent plays this, you are going for the check, right? I wish I could show this. This is the position we are talking about, right? We expected him to come in this way. Check here. Sorry. He comes in this way, then we double. If you bring the rook in here, we just check. You go in, we check. You come back, we just checkmate you. It was a straightforward checkmate, right? But the current line is questionable. Yeah, this is too. Now your knight is stuck. Your rook is stuck. It's just bad. So I was on the side of white, but currently I think black is getting white. Black has work to do. Don't think I don't see that. But I think his position is much more desirable as compared to previously. Trading up doesn't solve it though. King comes this way. Takes the same thing. Knight still can't move. That's the major issue here. Right? You can check and I can come in this way. Check and I can move another way. But the main issue is you are stuck with the knight. Your knight can't move. I think moving the king would have been a much better move. Hmm? Ah, I see what's happening here. He wants to play this. And now the king can't move. Oh, good. I now understand it. Yeah. I now understand it. Okay, these guys are playing out with their mind. This game should have ended long ago, in my opinion. I think White should have won long ago. But some inaccurate moves by White, I think, is what lost him the game. Or drew him the game. The game is not yet over. If Knight blocks, it doesn't work. Rook check, you just come in this way. No need to stress yourself. Yeah, if Black wins, this is all White's fault. Frank. Yeah, it still doesn't. Oh, it actually does matter. It actually does matter. It actually does matter. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Here, and he's going to take. For a second there, I was thinking that he had lost it, but he's finding every way to survive. So now Knight jumps back this way. You can't. That way is also plausible. Are we looking at Knight here now? Yeah, White is still winning. White is actually still winning. White is actually still winning here. If you take, you lose your knight. If you don't take, you get h5, and your king is in much more trouble. h5. I don't think you want to take with the pawn here. h5, yeah. And look, this king is in the box, right? This king can just not move. This king is locked out. Oh! Jack from Crash, what's up? I'm good. This game has been unnecessarily back and forth, all because of style. All because White just wanted to play style. This game should have been over 19 years ago. What are we doing today? We are covering the Clash of Samurai chess tournament, which is organized by the BCA, the Brilliancy Chess Academy. And today we are doing the group stages. 5 rounds of 10+2 chess. Takes, knight takes, check. Force the king back. Still going to be a difficult win. So the king moves. Then you can't attack him. I was thinking you'd attack him. You still do it. He still does attack him, and now you attack this pawn. That was the plan. You attack this pawn. If something is done to defend this pawn, you have this move. Okay, he still takes. Check. Check doesn't work here. Oh, check actually, I'm so dumb. He has enough time, so he can take here, then come back. That's what he's aiming to do. He's eventually going to trade his rook, possibly, for the pawn. Then try and promote. This is actually, I think, more or less a draw. So here, king can stop it. King can save it. King takes. Knight. Knight is going to block it. Check. Check. The king is going to hide. And you can't do anything from there. It's just lost. It's just lost. White still wins this. That's what's shocking. White still wins this. Like, with the million ways it could go wrong. Check here, you win the rook. That is over. That is over. That's actually very over. So for a quick replay of what we're talking about, it's this position in particular. This position here. White made a very good attack. He plays the first move, which is knight jumps in here, check. The king has no choice but to come in this way. And we were just saying that knight should just go, the rook should just go to rook b to b7. And then from this point on, it's just a simple. But he went for a more creative way, and the game was back and forth. Eventually, White ends up, I think, taking it. He will end up taking it. I don't see any stalemate in his future. I don't see any stalemate in his future. Oh, I hope it's not. Aha. Okay. Let's jump to another game that's going on. Since we know this game is over. Patamia is also playing. Who is he playing? Is he really playing Cantos? Give me a second. Give me a second. Patamia is supposed to be playing Mod Benson. I don't know if that's Mod Benson's account. I really don't know. I really don't know. So I can't think that's it. Danny is playing Ostrakos. Yes, this is a live game. Danny is he's a national team chess player, right? So with the 2-second increment and with this kind of position, he's definitely going to win. Or I'm overestimating his time management, but I think this position is not that difficult to win, right? I even think, like, with king b6, you can play king to d5, king takes, rook takes. If rook takes, king takes. It's a 2 versus 3. Your king is away from the defense. You can eventually make a pass pawn. So I think regardless, Danny is still winning this one. I think regardless, he's still winning. Regardless of where you move it to. If you come in this way, I can leave the pawn. I don't need to push this pawn. The position just seems right. King b6, king d5. King takes b5. If you do play king takes b5, rook takes. And if you do trade off rooks, king takes. You can leave it. King d5 is not that difficult to find. Unless, of course, he wants to hold it and eventually try and play pawn push here. Pawn push with like g5, g5, f6. These are all plausible moves. It doesn't matter where your opponent takes from. You still have a pass. I don't know if that's what you want. Yeah. Okay, 10 seconds. The 2 seconds may not be enough. King goes back. You sacrifice the pawn. Like, king goes this way. You sacrifice the pawn. There's no need. Like we've mentioned, 3 on 2. What if the rooks leave the board? Like, if Ostrakos isn't very careful and he trades off the rooks, the 10 seconds is not going to matter, especially with the 2-second increment. And with leeches, that doesn't take away time when you pre-move. This is going to be very simple, straightforward, and the margin for error is very low. So either here or here, and regardless, like I said, if you play this move pawn push, once you take, there's going to be a forced trade of rooks and you lose. You move back, still rook takes, right? You may not trade off the rooks there, but then you're inviting your opponent's king to his way in. I mean, this is just completely over. The only reason black can win this is on time. So what black should try and do is to find a tricky way to continue the game. Something that white isn't expecting. That is one way to go about it, but you get what he's trying to do here. But the king, that's my issue with it. Okay, that's also another. Yeah, I think he was trying to bring his rook in this way. I was thinking about splitting the pawns at the point, but this is fine. Like I said, yeah, you just go. That's it. There's nothing. Pawn push. There's just nothing. It's just a very straightforward. And at this point, you can just pre-move. It's very difficult to make a mistake. Even with pre-moves, it's very difficult to make a mistake here. You can even resign. 11 seconds is not going to make a difference. If there were no time increments like in the previous tournament, it's yeah. So takes slow and steady wins the race. Takes he didn't even wait. Come in this way, pawn push, you can't stop it. You come in with the rook, it doesn't really matter. You're going to lose your rook, that's the whole point. Yeah, and that's about it. Yeah. And that is why he represents and that's why he presents Ghana. Is Juju's game official? Yes, Juju versus Paulo is an official game. Juju is Harry Sarkodie. I didn't know it was him, but we had a very nice and we had some nice conversations during the President's Cup. So he is a strong player for sure. I mean, even finished ahead of me. I'm trash. So what do we have? D4, G6. Okay, we know this line. Ooh, okay. If you are going the Josh Tego route, you would have gone like G5 here. Or if you're going the me route, you'd have gone Bishop to F4 here. But we might get a King's Indian defense if we do see E4. Bishop to G4, okay. So no King's Indian defense. And this is the current position. This is the current position that we have on the board. Is this round 2? Let me be sure. Or their game started behind time. Nope, this is round 1. This is their round 1 game. Once again, thank you guys for joining the stream. We are covering the Clash of Samurai tournament held by the BCA. It was held last year and a few years back, so you can follow it. You can follow those previous tournaments on the channel. We do give coverage to them. Today is going to be the group stages. There are going to be 4 rounds of chess, and from tomorrow we'll have the knockout stages. So yeah, great to have you guys with us. If you are from Ghana, from the BCA, and you're familiar with any of these players, you can always let me know who you are supporting, and yeah, that'd be great. I mean, taking makes so much sense, but I don't know. I'm so tempted with knight here. Of course, once you play knight here, your opponent is going to make a move. So it's not like it's going to be confirmed that once you play knight there, your opponent is going to capture here for you to play takes with the check and other checks. But yeah. So that would be my ideal line. Knight to e4, e takes d4, knight takes d6 check, king e7, queen takes f7 check, king takes d6, queen takes g7. That's my ideal line. Of course, your opponent is good enough to see it, so he prevents himself from falling into that. I think we're going to see f5 here. Depending on the kind of player our black is, we might see f5 here. Yeah, he's not castled and all that, but f5 is just tempting. Actually, no, we will not see f5 here. f5 takes e4. Takes again, rook comes in. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes with check. Knight blocks. I don't think you want to do that. I don't think you want. Okay. So he defends against the obvious threat here, but now f5 has been shut down. This bishop is bad for a bit. It's not going to be bad forever. You can imagine the queen side stepping and going f4. It's going to open up the position. This bishop is not going to be bad for long. And the beautiful thing is that your opponent, ideally with these like right now, it kind of looks like a King's Indian. White can go for a queen side assault or a king side assault. Standard development. Yeah, this is not effective. We can castle here. Then we go knight to h5. You can go step by step or do it immediately. That is knight h5. You can go f6, then f5, or you can just go f5 straight away, whatever. Castles kingside, and this is the current. I think this is the only game that's going on currently. That I, at least of the players I'm following, this is the only game that is going on currently that I think is official. Yeah. So he goes h6. I was looking at this move. I don't. Interesting. There was a line I was thinking where the bishop is trapped. I think that's why he traded off. Yeah, so eventually this move is f5 is always there. As black, you don't want to initiate this trade. You're basically trying to okay. I think he wants to come in here, but that may not. I don't know. Because you go f. No, you can't go f4. He could have even gone f4 there, right? But I think his opponent wants to go knight here. Nah, yeah, knight here. Because if knight takes, then the rook is opened up to the defense of this. Though you don't even want the queen in the first. That could be a move. I'm not. You could now decide to take here as black, but again, I don't know if you want to open this file to your opponent. I don't know if you want to open this up to your opponent. Black is going for the standard plan of f5. Unless white gives him a reason to not go for it, I think he's going to go for it. Yeah. And if black takes, he's going to take with the f pawn. He could take with the queen, but taking with the f pawn just opens up the file. And you can even double up and take complete control over the file, making it difficult for your opponent to go f4. Yeah. So if you can't take the knight and you leave your knight there, your opponent is the one going to initiate the trade, and you're going to end up with a bad king side structure or castle king structure. I think at this point, since white has neutralized black's main idea of going for a queenside attack, he's maybe going to push his ideas here, like b. So it doesn't really work as much here. He's still going for it. Interesting. He's still going for it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. That is ballsy. So if takes, you want to play pawn push? Like, it doesn't make any sense. What's the hidden motif? Yeah, because like even with this, now the rook can come in, abandon the whole f5 idea, or even the f5 idea is strength, especially if you play takes here, because now you are having this issue. Now f5 is actually very strong. I do agree that with f5 your opponent has c6, because if takes, the rook defends, the queen defends. Have to move. I don't know. Could we go f5, c6, b takes c6, d takes c6, and then we go e4? But if our opponent takes, we take as well. And that opens up the bishop's attack. And the pawn may not be able to move. Now it's behind your pawn. It's a whole lot of calculation we're doing here. I'm seeing c6 happen. I think you trade once, yeah. And this is what I'm talking about. Do you go this move? Do you play pawn? Because you can. As to whether you should, that's a different question. Sides against it. Annoying. Yeah, that's annoying. The fact that his opponent does it with check is annoying. Because now the bishop is going to move, and now he has to defend this backward, and that's very annoying, right? That's very annoying. So rook this way. Actually depends, like which one do you want to go for? Because this pawn is like stuck here. Well, he would have to look at this line, whether pushing it makes more sense. Yeah. Okay. Tempo move. Attacking the queen first. But I don't know if he's forgetting that the queen can take this pawn. And after queen takes, rook takes, there's more problems again for black. Never mess with Sarkodie. He's very strong. He's very strong. I think he's just going to go queen takes. Queen takes d6. Yeah. Huh. I didn't look at rook here. We just play queen takes. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. Pawn push still exists. We have a bishop defending. Pawn push, the queen defends the bishop laterally. We don't have to retreat the bishop. We don't have to put the bishop here in any way, shape, or form. I even think putting the bishop here actually is still good, but I think we just go pawn push. Now the queen defends the bishop laterally. You take, again, we said like you take, there's a problem with your back rank. You can't defend. The bishop still got the square. It's highly difficult here if you want to defend this position as black. Very, very straightforward win by Sarkodie. I'm calling it. I think the position is too winnable. I'll find it difficult to defend this position. You can play knight to e8, but then rook to c7, or even ignoring that whole thing and going rook to d8, right? Actually, no, rook to d. Yeah, rook to d8. No, rook to d8 doesn't work. Knight c7, rook to d8. Knight to e7. Pawn push. Rook takes. Rook takes. Knight takes. Takes doesn't work. So you might just have to double. And then still go pawn. So knight e8 is what you would want to do. The tricky move, trying to force your opponent to make a mistake. I can see. Yeah. I could see why he doesn't want to bring the knight back again because of back rank issue. But yeah, sometimes that's all you have. You can resign here. No one will shame you for resigning here. There's no hope. Very nice. GG's. Very nice. I think that was the last game of round one. It's a very interesting game. I think black was fine until this whole position. Right? I think he was fine until this whole position. I think I underestimated this idea, but I still don't think it's supposed to work. I still don't think this idea works. I think maybe takes, I don't know. Do you take here? Maybe I'm also overestimating. I'm still not decided on since this. I'm trying to use the analysis board. Because I'm thinking here that, yeah, it says D takes C. But even without that, oh, my move is actually bad. I was thinking this is good. It's actually very bad. Unfortunate. But I think he was still okay. It was when he played the knight move that it was, I think, gone for me. I think that was when the game was actually over for me. I think that was when the game was actually over. Give me a second. Let me let you know if round 1 is done. Then we'll continue from there. Second. Okay. Round 1 is done. Round 2 pairings are out. Let's look at... Now we're going to look at the big guys. We started with the quote-unquote weak guys. Let's look at the big guys. No big guy that I know of apart from him. Let's go. EA Paya. It's been a long time I've seen him. I was looking for Josh Tego, but his game hasn't started yet. We have an 9. Okay. And a sort of English, but we are transposing to sort of like a Queen's Gambit, I guess, or some kind of Sicilian structure. Who knows? Wait, that was... Oh, okay. Yeah, about that. Castles. Are we going to see D6, which I don't think... Yeah. Or E6, which I also don't think is a good idea. Which I think is the reason why sometimes E6 is played, to prevent this. But we're going to see these. We have basically gotten to the King's Indian defense by transposition. A bad King's Indian defense. Though, I mean, we can still get the ideal structure. And let's see if EA Paya handles it better than the previous match we watched. Let's see. Nyamiba is playing. We've not seen Nyamiba's game, so let's see how Nyamiba plays this. D4, C4. We have a Queen's Gambit declined. Yeah, so those who join our Tuesday streams, we were looking at some of these lines on Tuesday. Tuesdays are steady stream. We always go around to study the games and see what's going on. Okay, so we have a sort of like Trampowski. This is going to be a slow positional game. Funny, he's playing slow and positional against somebody who is like 1200. I don't know how strong Gupta actually is and if he plays consistently on chess. But normally you play strange chess against like beginners because you know you're going to get them there. I don't know if queen to f3 is actually plausible here. Ooh, knight takes e, d5. Straight forward. Otherwise, it's the same thing. Knight takes d5. Nothing changed. My move was still correct. Bishop, if you are feeling spicy with ideas of knight takes check. But this is just the safest response. You win the pawn, you get out of there. Bishop coming in here is not a fear. Yeah, and this is just a trigger response. He wants to go all out attack because now he's messed up. But the problem with castling queenside for him, even though yes, it opens up queenside attacks for you, is do you see this open file? It can become an issue. Oh, it can become an issue. Again, opening up the position. Once you even kick out this knight, maybe you'd even look at a move like e4. Once again, sorry for the disconnections. I've been having issues with my internet. Today, only today. Of all these. Pawn push isn't something you really want to do. You could play pawn push here. Think it's safe. But I see where he's going with this, for example, with the fact that you can actually push this knight. Wait. Hmm? Yeah, that was literally what I was going to say. Why would you Why did you do that? Black just messed up heavily. So yeah, it's completely won from here. And now you can take You can initiate with check first, but I don't know if that's important. Because your opponent is going to go this way. Then you can take. Yeah. Okay, the net is back again. Sorry for the disconnection. Okay, you could play rook here. And this is one. Okay, that's fine. I'm really looking at this move, but it doesn't work. The other thing is, oh, okay. I didn't see that move. I didn't see that move. Hope you guys can hear the stuff that's going on outside. Oh, you just take with check. You just take with check. You don't lose anything. You just take with check. You just take with check. You can always trade off. Yeah. And you win the bishop. Right? You win the bishop. Plausibly. No, you don't win the bishop, unfortunately. Check. Check. Okay, he blocks that way. This allows this move by the rook. Rook to d1 with ideas of rook e8 checkmate. The king can't move up in any way, shape, or form. He has to play f6, which loses the bishop. Once again, it's still lost regardless of which way you go. I don't know what other way you can try and save this position. How would you save this position? How would you save this position? I don't know. I was thinking around two. Okay, okay. You're playing everybody in the group, so I should have assumed that. I should have expected that like he would be playing a stronger opponent. But there's no way to survive. The only thing that gives you like a breath of life is f6, but f6 doesn't work. Yeah, it's over. We don't have to see the end of this game. Let's see Stephen Morris. Let's see his game. Okay. E4, C6. We have a Caro-Kann. Enjoyer. Okay. Already we see that black has a good position from the opening, which is very funny. Okay, very nice. Nice. Trades off. Very nice trade. We're going E4. Do we still change it? Do we change our mind on E4? No, we still go E4, right? Oh, missed the pawn there. Just a tricky player, so he may have actually missed the pawn. Knight jumps back, he doubles up. Yeah. Trading queens may not be bad. Rook infiltrates. There's a pin. Pinning is winning. As we trade the queen, if we trade the queens off here, we are losing as black. So you do have to trade off. Yeah. Yeah. What does this do? Yeah, because you play bishop takes for sure. He can just play pawn takes if he wants to. Yeah, but of course, knight takes, you want to take here. But these 2 pawns are still too strong. Can't really stop them. This rook comes in this way, he's still pushing them. Black is in a very bad position here. I think black got a little bit too adventurous and interesting here. I wouldn't go e5, but e5 is not actually the issue. After the trace, he should have made a decision here, and he messed up. He lost a defender, right? Because he missed this. Because he only has 2 defenders. The opponent had 3 attackers, so that's what he basically missed in this position. Yeah, so he was going to try and double and take advantage, but he missed his mistake here, and then that's why he's in a bad position. Let's see how the end game goes. Oof. If you have to play knight on e6, it's not a good idea, because now even your opponent is going to play knight here. Okay, he didn't play that, but yeah, knight there just puts you in a predicament. Maybe, maybe not, who knows. h6, you play this move first. What do you play? You can play this move. Yeah, you can play knight there. With check, king moves. Then you take. If knight takes, rook takes. I don't know if that's what you want to do. There's an active black. There's an active rook on. Black has an active rook in white's position, so I don't know if you'd actually want to do that. Maybe you might want to just. That's funny. That is funny. No one can tell me otherwise. I actually couldn't believe that happened. When you start playing to your opponent's tempo and you start playing fast and they are better at you at playing with speed, this is basically what happens. So now just attack this. Your opponent's going to try and trade it off. He doesn't, that's good. No fear. That's nice. Oh yeah, I was going to say you lock it in. But I should be careful though. Can't push. Oh, he's completely fine. Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, you can even slide your king. No, you can't actually. You can, but you can't. The opponent is going to try and cut off the king with this, and he's only left with defense with these guys. Check, king comes in this way, then he's going to try and make advancement. I think he should have continued trying to win the pawn. I don't think his opponent could have defended the position. I think he should have tried winning the pawn. Because where his rook was a very good vantage point. Because, yeah. Knight jumps in. His point is to come in this way with check and win. It's funny how he bounced back here because he was completely losing. Yeah, so check here. Oh, okay, that's also plausible. Check again. Check again. He's defending. You could play this, but this is actually very dangerous. Because of rook here, that's why. Rook to e6 is why I don't like that move. Because you move the king away, he takes, king takes, and you're in trouble. Pawn still pushes, you come in this way. So now you move the king away. I think you should have brought the king down rather than up. But he can't stay defending this guy for sure. So he has to move, like, let's see. Still think black is winning. Why did black offer a draw? Did black just offer the draw? Yeah. I think black was winning. I don't see how black draws this. I don't see it. I think black is winning this. It's a draw. Interesting. You guys know that. Okay. Next. Oh boy. Disconnected once again. Luther King's game is over. It's almost over. Knife on f5. I don't know who that is. Versus Danny XYZ. Interesting. That's the problem. Yeah, black is losing. What? Rather? Okay, black resigns. Fair result. Game Nigel. Did I see Game Nigel? I don't see if Game Nigel is on the list and if he's actually playing an official match. Nope. This is not an official match. Okay, I need someone who's playing an official match. What is with Daniel Frimpong smart and being low on time? Like, he and Clinton just like being low on time for some unknown reason. In winning positions, mind you. I haven't seen a single Mod Benson or Prince Appa game. I've literally been looking for them, but I'm not seeing them. Then this. Oh, I was thinking the other way. I've seen this move. I was wondering if there's anything he could do with that, but no. Okay, finally we have this. I don't know if you're ever going to get like h4, h5 kind of moves. Knight here doesn't work. He does have this. And then takes. We can slow bring a king in this way. Check. Check again? No. That allows him to take. Really okay with it. Then what was the point? Oh, ho, ho! Doesn't work, but damn, that's funny. Okay. Six. Check again, you can win. There's some hidden checkmates we are not seeing. Six. White is completely fine. Like with this low time, he's playing like oh. Okay, at this point is G. Yeah, at this point you resign. At this point you resign. There's no need to even think here. You just resign because there's increment. There's no need to think here. You just lose. Are you resigning? Stalemate is not. Stalemate is a dream. One. King up. King comes in this way. Checkmate. King up. Then checkmate. Regardless, it's checkmate. Pawn push. Living the dream. Yeah. GG's. That was actually the last game for round 2. Unfortunately for me, guys, I would have to end here. Tomorrow, I'm not taking a break. Tomorrow, I'm going through. But I actually have to. Right now, if I come back on time, it might take me like an hour. Depends. The traveling distance was going to disturb me. But if you haven't, you can subscribe, follow this channel to continue to follow this tournament, see what happens. But I'll do my best to post the videos also on YouTube as well, so that you can enjoy the games that you didn't see live on stream. If there are any players in particular that you want to see, just let me know, and I will see you guys on the next stream tomorrow, same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. tomorrow. Unless there's a change in time, I'll let you know. Have a great rest of your day. Peace. Why is everybody trooping here when the games are over? Trooping here before the games are over, guys. I'll be back. I don't know how long I'll take, but I'll be back. The games are supposed to end at 10. I should be here by 9:30. Who knows?